If you are someone who is looking to get into a product role at Meesho, if you want to understand how their product culture looks like, and if you want to know what are the resources that you need to go through while preparing for their product management interviews, then this conversation is for you. Today, I have with me Gagan Mahajan, who is the Director of Product Management at Meesho, and he leads their AI and ML initiatives. In this conversation, Gagan has thrown some light on what is the entire product culture at Meesho, what are the practices they follow in order to make sure that they are able to build the business centric and the user centric products. And then he'll also be sharing multiple resources through which you can make sure that you are able to prepare well for the interviews and how to approach the interviews at Misho. So this conversation is all for people who are looking to get into these kind of companies, and all the resources that Gagan has mentioned, I have listed them in the description, so feel free to go through them. With that being said, let's go ahead and start the conversation. If you guys have any feedback or questions in between, feel free to use the comment options. Thanks a lot, and let's get started. So, welcome, Gagan. We have been seeing a lot of posts about Meesho is hiring for so many product leaders, product managers, and people in mid-level roles in product management team at Meesho. So, I would want to know that what are the different kind of initiatives and challenges that you guys are looking to tackle in the next few years for which you are hiring product managers out there.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think we're starting to realize that the ambitions that Misho as a company has, it requires a lot of product fuel. And hence we have initiated this drive where we want to get exceptional product managers into the company. And a lot of these are actually senior roles, which means we want to put our best foot forward in some of the key strategic initiatives. So if you ask me, Misho has very long-term ambitions. We also have recently initiated a long-term framework in the company, uh, which allows leaders to take on bets for the next 5 years.
Hmm.
So, and we've done a internal discussion brainstorming at leadership level. But we have realized that there are a lot of bets we are not chasing today that can change the trajectory of the company,
Hmm.
and that's what we are looking for. I'll talk about maybe a couple of these bets. One of the big bets, and we will continue to double down on this, is pricing.
Hmm.
Right, we keep coming up with new and fundamental ways of reducing prices. I think a lot of supply chain related additional costs that comes into the e-commerce business, could be returns, could be delivery, etc. We have been able to reduce that fundamentally, and now we want to take some more innovative leaps there. So that's one of the big areas of investment. Second, if you see, Misha has also started something called Valmo, which is Misho's own supply chain network. So we're trying to make India's supply chain efficient, and
Hmm.
a good chunk of Misho orders have started to come from Valmo. So we're looking for people who can accelerate that innovation as well and accelerate
Hmm.
that side of things. And of course, I'm part of that ranking ML AI charter in general.
Hmm.
So this is where we are already taking leaps and bounds. So I'm hiring for my team as well, for strong product managers. So yeah, that's where we want to take some leaps, that leveraging LLMs as an architecture now, given that we have seen the power they have. So
Hmm.
how can we actually take a leap forward to the future? So a lot of these hiring drives are not for just creating impact today. They're also putting our best foot forward for the next 3 to 5 years.
Understood. Great. Now, Gagan, my next question is that we talk about that Meesho is one of the companies that is actually building for the next billion users because your focus has been into, let's say, build for the tier two, three cities of India. So, and like one problem that I see that I could foresee is that, let's say, the product manager that you are hiring, they are from the tier one cities sitting in Bangalore, and then they are building for people who are in the tier two, three cities. And now you talk about two of the features, which is one is making sure that you are able to reduce the price, which is like a main, I would say, inflection point for people in the tier two, three cities. Plus, you are also building like reaching the last delivery pin codes through your own supply network as well, right? Making the just-in-time thing, right? So, how do you make sure that people who are sitting in Bangalore in like a AC office are able to go ahead and empathize with people who are in the tier two, three cities of India?
Yeah, we have actually changed the narrative completely. I don't think this team sits in Bangalore to just understand users. In fact, every single product manager, every single person who has come to Misho takes two trips, by the way.
Hmm.
One trip is basically to a location where our users sit. For example, we are in Bangalore. The easiest accessible locations are locations like Chikkaballapura, Tumkur. These are tier 2, tier 3 towns and cities where our users are sitting, our evangelists are sitting. So anytime we want to get some insights readily, we will actually travel to these places. But any new hire at Misho takes two trips. One is to a place where which is a hub for our users. Could be, let's say, a remote town in UP or Bihar. That's where they'll go to understand, or could be Punjab, could be South.
Hmm.
That's where they'll go to users' houses and talk to them to understand their surroundings and actually learn what are the how they shop on Meesho, what are the things that they talk about. For example, one of the most intuitive things that I could see was like uh, our users use WhatsApp voice notes a lot more than text,
Hmm.
right? So one of the key things that we want to explore is actually, can we go from a very US based shopping experience to a more voice based, more natural things that are more natural to our users, more intuitive to our users. So these are the kind of insights that you do. So this is trip number one that they do. Trip number two is actually to the sellers for a new hire. So these trips are called DICE,
Hmm.
DICE immersion programs, democratizing internet commerce for everyone, immersion.
Understood.
So you talk to the sellers, you talk to the users, you understand their pain points. That's where you start to empathize. And this is irrespective of the problem you are solving. Right.
Hmm.
Once you go deeper into the problem, you again go to users, you take trips. So all these are company sponsored trips to make sure that people are actually spending time with users. So no, we don't sit in Bangalore and talk to our users and listen to them. We actually go
Yeah.
to homes and places to understand things.
Yes, 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 yes. That's impactful. And also, like, I think we were having a conversation the other day when we were talking about, I think a couple of years ago, when someone joins, you make them to go ahead and listen to the customer support calls and talk to the customers to make
Absolutely.
sure that they understand that. Yes,
That
yes,
that
very
ritual is
interesting.
there. That ritual is called listen or die. So either you listen to
Okay.
your users or you die. In Misho term, it is LOD. Uh,
Yeah.
that ritual always stays before any project starts. Before anything, you first of all speak to users, get the insights around that problem statement or theme. Right. That could be through talking to users on voice call, visiting them, or could be customer support tickets, could be through Play Store reviews, etc. But we look at users' voice across our projects, and the ritual is very clear: listen or die.
Yes, wonderful, wonderful. And Gagan, I could also expect that because you are, let's say, building so much impact in India, and also you guys have, let's say, so many practices out there. I'm sure not everyone qualifies for the product team at Misho. So, what are the, let's say, some of the backgrounds or skills or some of the traits that you see when you're hiring for product managers across the levels, I would say.
Across it. So one of the things that we are super proud of is the product culture that we have built, and we have somehow over the years been able to maintain that culture. Here are some fundamental traits of people who have actually been able to succeed at Misho, and that's what we start to look for now. I think number one, it's a core mantra for us is extreme ownership. At Misho, you are almost like given 100% autonomy and 100% accountability to chase your goals as a product manager.
Hmm.
So we are looking for people who can act, who are self-driven, who can actually bulldoze any walls that come into
Hmm.
their way, align people as fast as possible to get things done, right?
Hmm.
So and that usually comes from a strong sense of mission alignment,
Hmm.
that I am not doing it for myself, I am doing for the greater good of
Hmm.
democratizing the internet commerce for everyone. So first of all, I think that mission alignment is something that we try to seek through different areas of interest, how they have contributed, where they have gone through out of their way to understand things, and when they're talking to us, what part of Misho appeals to them the most, right?
Hmm.
So that's where we try to understand how strong is that mission alignment, because that's one trait that we have seen: people don't give up easily. If
Hmm.
they are
Hmm.
mission aligned, they will go through things to take ownership. So extreme ownership and mission alignment is probably one of the strongest trait that we try to understand when we are
Hmm.
looking for product hires at Misho. I think second would be, and it's a very strong product fundamental, which is being very problem first and user first. I
Hmm.
think most of the rejections, if you ask me, in interview happen
Yes.
because people jump to solutions,
Hmm.
right? They don't take a pause and understand users' problems. So they'll say, "This is my
Yes.
persona, and to solve for this persona, here are my solution." There's a
Correct, correct,
step
correct.
in between, which is these are
Yes.
the problems that I want to highlight,
For this
right?
persona. Yes, yes. Very interesting.
So these problem and prioritization of these problems, taking a structured approach to that prioritization is what we're looking for. So
Hmm.
in essence, very structured problem solving. The skill from a PM that we expect is bringing structure to the chaos,
Hmm.
right? So and that's where structured problem solving helps. It's a very core fundamental of product management, but more so needed in this particular environment where there are just too many problems to prioritize from. Which ones will give you the 10x impact, right?
Understood,
So
understood.
that's second. And the third which again is function of product management in general. But since Misho's talent density is so high, you are
Hmm.
being challenged with smart people a lot more. So your ability to communicate and influence people
Hmm.
becomes almost like a blocker for you to grow if that's not at par with Misho. So what we have seen, to influence talented people, you need to have great communication and influence skill, relationship skills, and that's what we have
Hmm.
learned over the years. That's the persona that succeeds at Misho. So for anyone who's applying, I think it's a great skill to. It's a great way to evaluate yourself first. Are you aligned to
Hmm.
this company mission? Do you like solving problems in a very structured format, in a very structured, or will you be the one who will take ownership to make sure you bring structure to this chaos? And third is,
Hmm.
do you like working with talented people and influencing them, taking on that challenge whenever they're going to question you? You'll not take it personally, and you'll actually come to a common objective and alignment.
Yes.
So I think those are the three skills that we genuinely look for across levels when we are hiring.
Yes, I think that's fantastic. So first is a mission driven. Second is like problem centric mindset and be ability to build, let's say, a structure to the chaos out there. And then making
Yes,
sure that you are able to go ahead and work with people and raise bar for yourself and for them as well.
absolutely.
Interesting. Amazing. Amazing, Gagan. So now, Gagan, maybe my next question for you would be that there are so many skills that you have mentioned, but let's say take an example that one of the recent rockstar hires that you have at Misho, okay, they might have gone through the same process. So if you can give me some examples of as in what are their responses, how they were able to go ahead and do it, what did you like about them, so that people will get some of the specific examples as well.
Hmm. Yeah, I have one recent example from one of the interviews that I was taking. We were
Hmm,
having the same discussion that we've jumped from a user persona to a roadmap or a solution list, right? What are the problems that they have? And maybe in this discussion, something else also comes out. So we talked about what are the problems that they thought of and how did they decide which problems to follow and solve. I think in that, problem prioritization become one of the things that we wanted to go deeper into. How did we
hmm,
prioritize between the problems? So usually people fall back to RISE framework:
hmm,
reach, impact, confidence, effort, right? I've seen people, because that's a framework that's well accepted in the industry, right? But you're prioritizing problems. How will you even know the effort at this time? How will you
right.
even know the confidence at this time, right? So this person actually very logically said, this is problem prioritization. I don't think I can give you effort or confidence at this point. So I'm going to take away that component of RISE framework. But I do believe this is what I know:
Hmm.
number of users facing that problem, and
And
the
the impact of solving
pain
that
point
problem. Hmm.
depth of that pain point, like how critical
Yes.
or severe that pain point is. To me, that logical thinking stood
Hmm.
out well, that you are not following a framework, you are
Correct, correct,
adapting the
correct.
framework to the problem that you want to tackle. So that stood out really well. Okay, this person is able to navigate rather than applying just a framework. They're able to understand the problem, they're able to actually prioritize well, and take the right parameters rather than just all the parameters. So I think that stood out to
Yes.
me in one of the case. Another case is basically we are having almost like a debate on like, is this the right persona to go after? Is it a 10x
Hmm.
non-linear objective? After that healthy debate, that person acknowledged that things are actually not as expected in that assignment, or as
Hmm.
could have been better. And the next question that I asked, they adapted to that feedback immediately. Like, so
Hmm.
how fast were you able to take that feedback and adapt immediately?
Yes, yes,
I think
yes.
those are the things that stand out very well. That, are you able to think on your feet, take that feedback? We call it growth mindset at Misho, by the
Hmm.
way.
Hmm. Hmm.
Right. So these are the kind of instances where I can think, when someone took a step back, applied their mind on a problem, and then changed their approach rather than being fixated, being defensive. Uh,
Yes, yes, yes.
right. So
Correct.
those are the two standouts. These are the kind
Hmm.
of responses that I can think of. I may be forgetting some of the nitty gritties, right?
Hmm.
But yeah, these are the kind of things that I remember top of my mind.
Yeah, I think that's okay. That gives us a lot of the clues, you know. And I was also able to understand, like I've talked to multiple product leaders. One thing that was very common was that everyone wanted people to think on their feet. And when we know that, yes, we are even asking a very common question, we'll put some or the other kind of twist in the question to understand whether you are able to think on the feet or not. Because even in a particular product, I would say, even if you are creating the same feature for different kind of companies, the nitty-gritties, the personas, the problems, and even let's say your context is going to be different. Yes.
Yeah.
Cool. I think again, this was good. Now, maybe if you have to pitch Misho for the future product leaders, that why should you anyone go ahead and join Misho, what's in it for them, then how would you do it?
Yeah, sure. I think here my personal story is something that I can share very clearly. I just for your context and everyone's context here, I joined Misho as an SPM, and been fortunate to rise through the ranks, and the company has been fairly rewarding in that sense. But I think why for me at the time was very clear that I wanted to contribute to India's growth, and
Hmm.
Misho's mission has always been aligned to India's growth. So, if you feel strongly about India's growth in general, I think Misho is a great place. But apart from that, as a product person, what Misho offers to you is something that I can tell that Misho has offered to me. I think I have not seen such long term focused product culture. Usually product managers rant about our company's too immediate short term focus. We're just doing things for 2 weeks sprints, etc., and then we'll release features, we'll not even touch them later,
Hmm.
right? At Misho, product managers are actually questioned.
Hmm.
It's almost like building hacks is looked down upon
Hmm.
at Misho. So as a product manager, you get a 1 to 2 weeks time to just align everyone on the problem you want to solve. We call it
Hmm.
problem first session, right? Then the second bit that we do is basically then again 1 to 2 weeks to align on the solution you want to build.
Hmm.
That solution discussion happens in a working session meeting, as we call it, right? This is where you as a product manager pitch your problem, pitch your solution to the leaders. You invite questions and then you align them,
Hmm.
right? So there's a very structured approach to product building, and product managers, which I've seen ranting again, they don't get time to think. Misho
Hmm.
gives you the time to think and do well as a product manager. The second thing is, while doing all this, you are also focused on long term.
Hmm.
You are solving problems which are truly structural in nature, right? I think the easiest answer to increasing growth could be building a referral,
Hmm.
right? Oh, let's get users to invite other users. I think while I'm just giving a hypothetical trade off, if there was a trade off between referral and retention, that's
Hmm.
solving for retention, Misho will always opt for retention
Hmm.
because Misho wants to opt for long term items,
Hmm.
right? So I've seen that trade off very clearly. The second thing is high integrity, I would say. We do very strong right by our users. I think
Hmm.
I have been into discussions where we realized that a user was getting penalized in a wrong manner. We actually went ahead and apologized and solved that,
Hmm.
right? So I think very high integrity in terms of our accountability to our users is also something that Misho offers as a culture. So if you are
Hmm.
someone who likes that kind of culture where you are solving for the actual user, it actually enables you and empowers you as well. And third, I think it's more recent because we have realized that as a big company, we don't want to slow down.
Hmm.
That autonomy and independence that product managers crave for, right? Misho's pod ways of working exactly enables that.
Hmm.
So each product manager has a bunch of engineering people, data science people, design people, APMs to work with them, business people. This unit is called an independent pod at Misho. They are given problem statements to
Hmm.
solve, and these problem statements could be just metric. Okay, increase new user growth, right? Then they will figure out the sub problems, the solutions independently, and they're given enough time to keep iterating there,
Hmm.
right? So if I have to just summarize, I think what Misho offers to you is basically a very structured thinking time to spend on basic problem solving that a lot of people don't get. Second, a long term focus. You're not here for uh, building hacks, you are here for building solutions that last. My first feature is still active on Misho, by the way, and you if you pause that feature, it's going to be massive loss to the company.
Yeah.
So I'm very proud of that feature in general. But that's what we have built, that things that have last. So that's second. And the third is basically high integrity, and the cherry on the top, product talented Misho is exceptional.
Hmm.
My day one at Misho was actually a challenging day because I learned, oh, I have to go into so much depth that I've never gone in my life, right? So my day one at Misho was like, oh, I was overwhelmed by the depth this company goes through in the fastest possible time. So I think that's the icing on the cake, if you ask me, beyond those basics. And that's why I think if people are interested, these are the reasons that they should go for.
Yes. And Gagan, like follow-up question on the same, that yes, Misho has created a very good culture and it is coming from the user centricity as well. You guys are data driven, so you have combined all the traits out there. But let's say there is a company who wants to go ahead and maybe build this kind of culture. It could be a big company or a small company. So to inspire them, I wanted to understand that what is the product org structure that you have, And what are the practices that you follow to make sure that yes, all of these traits are intact, not only for the short term, but also for the long
Yeah, I think I've talked about some bit in this in the last question as well. But product org at Misho is a horizontal vertical.
term?
Horizontal, sorry, it's a horizontal. Uh, so Misho is organized into vertical business orgs.
Hmm,
You have growth, you have monetization, you have fulfillment and experience, while product as a function is horizontal. So product team has different people aligned to these business objectives that
hmm,
they do, which means each product manager is accountable for a business objective. So
hmm,
this is the first bit in our org structure. As a product manager, you are empowered to make business impact
hmm,
for your vertical, right? You are basically, you'll be given a metric, and your job is to move that metric, because that metrics improves users' life or improves sellers' lives.
hmm,
That's the idea. So this is first enablement in our org structure. The second org structure is this pod structure that I talked about, right? That high autonomy of you being an independent pod, being mentored by leaders, right, is actually a game changer at Misho. A
hmm,
product manager actually thinks on the problem solutions more independently with their team, with their
hmm,
functions, cross-functional pod as we call them, and then they create impact on the metric that we talked about. So
hmm,
all this being very autonomous helps a product manager to grow really fast, and that's what
hmm,
has enabled the culture. I think these are the two key elements, if you ask me, from an org structure point of view. From practices point of view, I think the two practices that I told you about, one is a problem first session and a working session. They're like very deeply rooted at Misho. You don't move forward without these discussions, which means a product manager has to think. So, which means that product thinking culture continues to develop.
hmm,
The second thing is, I think, the peer learning here. So these problem first sessions, etc., are not just attended by their pods and their leaders. It's also attended by us, other leaders as well, and other peers are also invited. So
hmm,
you get a diverse perspective from your peers as well before you doing, and that talent density is exactly where it comes into play. That different people
hmm,
give you perspective that you would not have thought of, and that pushes you to go deeply into that. The third, I would say, practice, which is very fundamental to us, is the user LODs, listen or dies, right?
hmm.
I don't think any project happens without that. Uh,
Yes.
so these are the, I think these are the building blocks of a culture that Misho has existed. One layer on the top, that's what the strategy team pushes for, is long-term thinking. You will not
Hmm.
solve it for today. You will solve it for tomorrow and day
Forever.
after as
Hmm,
well, right? I think that usually comes after a certain level. So that's where strategy team plays a very significant role, that you will
hmm,
not solve it for, are you going enough to enough depth to solve this problem at the structural level, or are you putting a band-aid on top?
hmm, hmm.
So I think that's where strategic guidance comes into play.
Yes. Very helpful, Gagan. Now, going forward, uh, you have posted, let's say, a job for product leaders on LinkedIn, and you are able to get, let's say, more than 1,000 responses within few hours. Okay. Now, let's say someone is looking to apply at Meesho. How should they prepare, and how do they make sure that these guys are getting some kind of attention from you? What do you look for in a profile,
What do I look for in a resume?
in a resume or a profile, however they want to reach you? Yes.
Yeah, I think the easiest way to stand out, and I keep getting emails in general, the easiest way to stand out is basically take a Misho problem, apply your lens, send in a case study. I'll
Hmm,
be more than happy to take a look. And that's how a lot of people have gotten shortlisted at Misho, because it reflects two things. One, the intent to join the company is high because you're putting in that effort. And second, the willingness to go the extra mile to understand someone else's user's product, because you feel so strongly about the mission in
hmm,
general. So it gives me both intent and mission alignment to some extent, uh, that you want to do this. Uh, Purely from a resume point of view, I think we're looking for some form of hustle, that this person knows how to hustle and navigate their way,
hmm,
right? Usually that comes from some pedigree. Usually that comes from entering a company that's hard to go into in the so we're looking for some indication of this person hustles.
yes.
In general, could be just starting your own company and going through it for
Hmm,
some
hmm, hmm.
time, right? The second, and this is more for senior role, we are looking for someone who has done some innovative work, right? Non-standard. Whenever someone says that I've created a standard referral program, I
Hmm.
usually ask what's different about this, and that's what I'm looking for
Yes.
resume. Like, how is this different?
Hmm,
So, for example, a product manager at Grofers did not create a discount or a cashback program, they actually created a free product referral program,
Hmm.
right? So that was, and the insight was users value free products more than cashback and discount.
Hmm.
Right? So those are the kind of things that I'm looking for in resume, how differentiated their work has been
Hmm.
whenever they've worked in something which I'm aware of, right? And then the length of the experience also matters to some extent, right? That
Hmm.
for a PM2 role, you need at least someone who has spent 2 years as an independent product manager,
Hmm.
right? So those are the basics that we're looking for. If you ask me, resume shortlisting after a pedigree filter is
Hmm.
fairly lenient. I think
Yes.
what we look for in our first cut is that culture fit, is that mission alignment, is
Hmm.
this
Hmm.
person able to structure their thoughts well, communicate them well, is this person mission aligned, are they someone who is people centric and growth mindset oriented.
Right.
Those are the things that we try to understand. But from a profile lens, we look for intent, hustle, and differentiated work with some years of experience.
Correct, correct. And that can be showcased by either your pedigree or something that you have done in terms of a side hustle or your own business, or you have done something like which is a differentiated contribution of your work, like in your work. Cool,
Those are
cool.
the traits we look for.
Yes, yes, yeah, yes. I think that is really helpful. Now, proceeding ahead, Gagan. Once someone gets a profile shortlisted, what is the process of the interview? Like, what are the rounds that they go through? Do they change? Is it based on the candidate? How does it go?
Sure. I think let me just break it down into so different rounds, different levels. But let me talk about PM2 and above
Hmm.
usually, because that's what we're hiring for as well, most likely. So PM2 and above, we have broadly 4 to 5 rounds,
Hmm.
depending on the seniority of the role. Uh, the first round is with the hiring manager, the person who has a job opening and who will be your reporting manager in all likeliness. This round is basically kind of a screening slash exploratory round where we are trying to understand the culture fit of this person, values alignment, as I've talked about. And this is also the place for this person to understand the role and the company
Hmm.
culture, right? So it's an open ended round. Both parties are trying to understand what's in it for me, right? So the person, hiring manager's role is also to communicate about the role, the
Hmm.
specifics, details, so that the person who's joining has clarity on where they are. So this is number one, hiring manager round. Then you have a problem solving round, as well as at the same time we also hand over an assignment
Hmm.
round, so that you can take your time, go deep. So we are evaluating both things. If you are given enough time to research and come back, how you think,
How do you do this?
especially,
Hmm.
and
Hmm,
then
hmm.
the other round is problem solving, how you think on the top of your feet,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So both things are being evaluated during these. You can call these round 2 and round 3. One is a problem solving, the other is assignment round.
Hmm.
The fourth round usually, and these rounds for PM2s happen with at least one level up people,
Hmm.
right? So people who have been in the company, in the role, who have experienced how this role fares, right? The fourth round would be usually with the CPO in general, to understand both culture fit as well as problem solving. It's more of a, like, depending on where we want to focus, that
Hmm.
happens. And also another round to understand culture, etc., right? In senior role, since you will also be influencing business leadership,
Hmm.
and in some cases the CEO as well, right? So those two also play a role. In certain cases you may have a round with the CEO, you may also have a round with the business leader,
Hmm.
because those will be your influence partners in some cases, right? So again, they're looking for how easy to work this person with, the business leader. And CEO again is looking for fundamental mission alignment as well as culture alignment. In a lot of cases, they're also trying to dig deeper into your past experience, how you have thought of problems from a user first lens, etc. So again,
Hmm.
Misho, mantra alignment is what we usually look for, and we have
Understood.
13 mantras that we try to understand. So all these rounds,
Understood. And are they maintained publicly? If we can share links
yeah,
with
yeah,
people.
absolutely. They are public. All of them are like public mantras.
Yes, yes, yes. Amazing, amazing. And Gagan, just to follow up on the same question, that when it comes to problem solving, are you guys like looking for, let's say, more domain matter expertise or general problem solving? Questions that come are from, let's say, Misho's more context, or let's say you are trying to understand the IQ of the people or the thinking on the feet
I think
skill of the
problem
person.
solving is purely on raw smarts and structured thinking. That's what
Okay.
I would say. Again, across these rounds, you're being evaluated for your communication as well. Because
Mm-hmm.
if you're not able to communicate what you're thinking, things will not work out.
Yes.
As a product manager at Misho, right? So
Hmm.
communication, but we are looking for more, to answer your question specifically, we are looking for more raw smarts, general
Okay.
instinct than domain expertise. Just to give you context, I am from ML AI domain. I
Hmm.
don't think I have any filter for a product manager who has worked here, right? So
Yes.
that's not the case.
Hmm.
So I don't think domain expertise is a big thing. Product management is a fairly generalistic role. You build context over
Hmm.
a period of time, and that compounds. But we are willing to invest that much, right?
Cool, cool,
So
cool.
your
Understood.
IQ is the IQ. If I have to say IQ, in that also problem solving skills, you will have to be structured problem solver as well as being very user first in your thinking,
Hmm.
right? That's
Hmm.
what we're looking for in general.
Interesting. Couple of questions you can share that you maybe generally ask.
Let's say if you are someone who's working at Google India,
Hmm.
right? uh, you are an entrepreneur in residence. What will you recommend to Google to build next
Hmm.
as a
Hmm.
big bet for them in India, right?
Yes.
So now this is a fairly open-ended question, right?
Correct.
How
Correct.
you approach this question is gonna bring things ahead.
Yes,
Similarly,
and
I
it
think
also circle. Yeah, I think it also circle backs to your three traits, which is mission driven and problem solving and converting from vague to a structured, and then your communication skills. Yes.
absolutely, absolutely. That's the idea. Another similar question that I ask could be very Misho specific as well. Uh, how will you build search product for India in
Hmm.
general? Right now, a lot of people anchor towards Google search, text search, but India does not search via text. Right? Most India does
Yes.
not actually know how to type as well. Right?
Hmm.
So again, this gives me a very strong point of view on two things. One, is
Hmm.
this person able to think user first?
Hmm.
Second, search being an analytical product gives a good view on a analytical thinking bit as well,
Yes.
right? So these are a couple of questions that I try to ask based on the level that I'm hiring for. I will also support this person into that problem solving because these are not easy problems for even an SPM at Misho,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Yes.
So that's how we think about it.
Cool. 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 Gagan. Now, because we are in the AI age, we cannot not ask a question about AI. So, what are the different like initiatives that Meesho is taking to solve their customer problems with the help of AI?
Oh, I'm very proud to say that the team that I work with, the search team, is the biggest consumer of Gen AI now.
Oh.
So the way we understand our users query, they are typing something very natural language. मुझे लाल कलर की साड़ी दिखाओ. They're
Huh.
not typing red sari as you and me on Flipkart and Amazon, right? This is where LLMs are helping us a lot to understand these queries better. Similarly, for a search system to work, you have to understand lal as a is a color, right? Something else. So that understanding also comes very well from attributes. So these are the intelligence that we are using immediately on GenAI. By the way,
Hmm.
Misho is almost like an AI first company now,
Hmm.
not
Hmm.
just
Hmm.
GenAI, AI first. All our ranking models, all our recommendation models, even a lot of fraud models are now not just ML based, they are like deep neural network, right? So we have taken that leap in the technology. So that's on the AI slash ML part.
Hmm.
Beyond this core AI domain, we have also empowered a lot of our customer support through Gen
Yeah.
AI.
Hmm.
We are trying something on the voice side as well. Can we enable users to have Gen AI voice support? Again, it's more a work in progress there. But now new cases are also coming, by the way. There are cases in which we touch base with the sellers for something which is very repetitive in nature but needs some smartness. For example, if we want them to update certain things in their products, right? The description is not as good, etc., and they've
Hmm.
left the panel. We want a chat-based intelligence support to help them do these things. So it's almost like an interactive support to help them grow, not just
Hmm.
for customer support queries, right? So those are the places where we are leveraging AI. But across, I don't think there's a team at Misho which is not leveraging AI in general, but
Okay.
we are also looking at Gen AI use cases now.
Cool. Cool. I think we can have a separate, like a longer podcast on only to discuss like how to use AI for the next billion people. And I think Meesho is at the right position to go ahead and
We're super proud that this technology has come into place and we have been
yes.
able to leverage it for like India. I think that stands out for us.
Correct, 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 correct. Great, great, Gagan. And now, Gagan, some concluding thoughts that let's say someone is aspiring to be a product manager coming from any kind of backgrounds. What are a couple of tips that you are going to share with them?
I think this question I get asked a lot of times. The first thing I'd say, answer to yourself, why do you want to be a product manager?
Hmm.
Right? Like, and this answer is different for different people. For me, this answer is building something that improves people's lives at scale. I think
Hmm.
I truly enjoy the fulfillment that it brings by building, and I truly enjoy the fulfillment that comes to me by doing things at scale.
Hmm.
Right? So that's why I do product management, and I think there's a technology part. I love technology because it enables things at scale. Right? That's my reason to do product management, and I think this motivation has not uh, wavered as much over
Hmm.
the years. I think that's the first question to ask, because otherwise a lot of people get into product management because of, let's say, the prestige this role
Yes.
has in general, right? People say that product manager is the CEO of the product. You're not the CEO of the product. You're the CEO of the product if the product fails.
Hmm.
That's when you will be accountable,
Yes, yes, yes.
right? So I'm saying that's the first question to answer. But let's say that clarity is there for you, that why do you want to be a product manager? My general tips would be like, first of all, understand this role better, and understand your strengths and weaknesses.
Hmm.
So there are a couple of books. Inspired is a fundamental book that I recommend to everyone. Then How to Crack a PM Job. Both these books help you understand this role better, so that
Hmm.
you can understand where are your strengths, where are your weaknesses. The three skills that I will always say are very important, and that's how you can get better is, number one skill is basically being very user first, building empathy to users. So
Hmm.
learn how to talk to users, how to derive insights, right? The mom test is a great book there, by the
Hmm.
way. That helps people on learning user empathy in general. Right now, to chat GPT helps a lot in general on what interviews to questions to ask. Right,
Yes.
that's one. Building user understanding. Second is uh, being a good effective communicator, because you'll be working with engineers, data scientists, designers in general, right? I don't know there is a faster way to fast track communication as a skill, but I think public speaking, giving
Yes.
presentations usually helps. So participate in as much forums as possible,
Yes.
right? And even meetings at your company, you can always ask questions that will help you learn more, right?
Hmm.
And the third bit is basically very strong problem solving and analytical skills. I think that usually comes with practice. So
Hmm.
the more problems, if you're curious about any product, like, just go ahead and build its case, what can be improved in that product. I think that
Hmm.
practice itself helps you a lot. So, and at the same time, you're building your portfolio of product problems, right?
Hmm.
So these are the three tips I would give. On user first, read the mom test. On execution, try to participate in as many forums as possible. Could be events, could be hackathons, could be just competitions. And third bit is basically making sure that you are learning problem solving through actual problem solving.
Doing
But
stuff.
there's no better way to learn product management than learning it on the job. So if you
Yes.
find a APM role, if you are early in your career, if you find an APM internship, by the way, Misho is also hiring for APM interns. We want
Hmm.
people to step up their career as well. So if you are in your less than 1 year experience stage, just graduated and looking to enter product management, APM internship is quite good. Otherwise, you can always move to an APM 1 or APM 2 role.
Hmm.
Those entry points set up the right foundation for you to be a product manager as well.
Wonderful, wonderful. And Gagan, like just extending the same letter, that let's say someone is you joined Misho as an SPM. Okay, let's say someone is an SPM now, they want to move aspiring for, let's say, a director level role or a GPM role. What are the difference in the traits that you have seen? Like, what do I need to do in order to get there to the next step?
Absolutely. I think I can. There is a very stark difference in three aspects. I
Hmm.
can think top of my mind. The first aspect is, and that's what Misho environment cultivates as well, very strong communication and influence,
Hmm.
right? You are able to build strong relationships with business people, with leaders, and you're able to influence them with the right points.
Hmm.
You're almost like re-articulating your communication according to the audience,
Hmm.
right? A CEO does not want to know the nth level detail. They would want to know that this is my overall strategy to achieve X% impact.
Right.
That's what a CEO wants to know. While your business partner or a business leader wants to know that elements of that
Everything.
strategy,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
right? So curating that communication is something, it's almost like a clear step jump between
Hmm.
an SPM or a director, I would say. That's one. The second, and again, it's a skill that's learned over years. It's not a skill that you can learn in months, right? So we have seen that SPM to director is a big leap. SPM to GPM is a big leap. GPM to
Hmm.
director is a big leap. That's there, right? That's one. Second is, I think, people leadership, and I'll combine this with hiring as well and growing people, right? So as an SPM, you'll be managing 3 to 4 people at best. As a GPM or a director, you'll be managing a team of 9, 10 plus easily, right? So how do you enable people to grow? How do you create systems where they can grow, right?
Hmm.
Misho has uh, tools that we call individual development program plans, etc., to help people grow. So I think, how do you build a team which can grow in itself. How can
Hmm.
I think that's the system that you're looking for, and that's what people leadership is about. At the same time, hiring also come into play. As you have seen people grow, can you find the right people
Yes.
to be added to the team? I think that's the second bit, and the third bit is more strategic understanding. Usually, as an SPM, you're looking for the problem that you are solving, right?
Hmm.
Now you have to apply the company lens, where the company is going, and can you come up with synergies between multiple orgs? For
Hmm.
example, if uh, we know that we are starting something on, let me take an example on, yeah, if you're starting something on the seller side of things, which is basically we want seller to bring the lowest prices
Hmm.
for the products and compete with each other, right? There has to be someone, and this is a director level person who thought of this. There has to be someone who thinks, how can I align the lowest price incentive to realization? So they will talk to the ranking team to make sure that the lowest price product gets the right visibility,
Hmm.
right? So how do you align these strategic uh, basically teams to make sure they're not just solving problems in isolation, you're also tapping the bigger problem? I think
Hmm.
those are the things that matter a lot, that strategic muscle, to make sure
Hmm.
that can I find overall opportunities rather than just my own problems
Yes.
in the company. I think that's a big leap. So these are the three big leaps I have to say. One is basically your communication influence, second is people leadership and hiring, and third is strategic strategic lens to your thinking.
Yes, amazing. This was good. This was good, Gagan, and I think we are at the conclusion now. So thanks a lot for being with us, and I'm sure this video is going to help a lot of people who are looking to get a job at Meesho and build a similar kind of product culture in their organization. I'll also make sure that I'll whatever resource we have talked about, I'll share it with you. Once you go through them, once you vet them, we'll also put them in the description. So if someone is looking to go ahead and go through them and prepare better, they should be able to do so. Thanks a lot, Gagan,
This is
and best of luck for your hiring. And we'll see how Meesho grows.
Thank you so much, Ankit. This has been a very good conversation, and looking forward to people applying more at Misho, and we finding great product managers who can help India grow.
Yes, yes. I could see there are a lot of applications already coming in. Thanks a lot, Kevin.
All right. Thank you. Bye bye.
Yes.